Okay, so I wasn't gonna do this video right away, but may as well since it's kind of on the same topic as the video prior. And this one is another idea that I was just thinking about, and it speaks to the whole idea of hitting on someone when you hate small talk. So like in the other video, we are talking about, myself, I don't have good game. And I find it difficult because for myself personally, I don't understand the interaction on that initial superficial level. I don't find a necessary attraction when you're playing on that plane. And yet we still are social beings. All of us, for the most part, have an interest in having a social interaction with someone that will be able to have a long or an intimate bond. And love to hear if other people aren't into that. As always, birds of a feather, we stick together, but at the same time, I love hearing other people's dialogue on what their experience is. Anyways, so I was thinking about this because I think there was a comment on one of the threads, and it was something to do with sarcasm as a good icebreaker. And I don't necessarily disagree, but I think that there is something that is difficult about sarcasm and coming in completely cold. When you don't know anyone, they don't understand your baseline. So they don't understand necessarily if that's sarcastic or if that's just mean, cruel. They are forming that opinion about you in a really short period of time. So sarcasm can have a tough time. Like we talk about how you have certain tools in your toolkit in order to build interesting bonds with people, and how sometimes you click with some people and sometimes you don't. Us as INTJs, we can have difficulties in, depending on especially our level of progressing through our socialization kind of chain, we might have some problems in fully understanding the social nuances tied to that. So I wanted to give you a quick example about something that I found really interesting in this whole idea of hitting on someone when you hate small talk. So this is something that happened to me. I wasn't doing it to someone, but it actually made me think, I'm like, this guy's genius. So I was on a trip, and I was with a bunch of girlfriends, and we were going to this place that was kind of like a lounge slash restaurant. And there was a long lineup, and we were waiting for our reservation to come up. And we were all there for a half marathon. So the entire town was kind of being overrun by athletically inclined people. And so I'm standing in line, and there was a fellow that was beside me, and I didn't even notice him. I was talking to my friends, and he brought up a line, or he just came out of nowhere. He's like, "Hi, how's it going? Are you here for, the race?" And I'm like, "Yep, that's why I'm here." Smile, went back to my friends. And then he asked me I can't remember the other thing, but the big part that really made me impressed was he brought out a line. I can't remember. I think it's from Anchorman or something like that, some Will Ferrell movie, but he was like, "I'm kind of a big deal." And I didn't know who he was. I had no baseline, like on the sarcasm thing, of what he was talking about. And I'm like, "Excuse me?" And he's like, and he kept playing the line. So he went through the entire, like 3 or 4 sentences from the movie. And then he realized, he's like, "You're not getting it." and finally clued me, and he's like, it's Anchorman. And I cried laughing because he, A, caught me off guard, and so drew me in off of this, because first I'm thinking, okay, what is, like, that's, you never know. Some guys do come up and say that they're a big deal. Second of all, it was interesting because he stayed in character. And then third, he was gracious instead of making me feel bad that I didn't catch on. Sad that pop culture I wasn't catching on to. And lastly, he was it came across as very charming because the whole package together demonstrated he was self-deprecating, he was interesting, he was able to provide context that could, like, in our INTJ mind, we analyze, right? So you're automatically thinking, is this guy just really shallow and uses these tacky pickup lines? Perhaps. Or is he, you know, the evil genius that comes up with these funny tactics as a way to break ice? And what I really found interesting about this, did I go on a date with him? No. However, what it did show is that what a great way to break the ice. Humor for a lot of us is actually really attractive as a feature. And it's hard to come in to something where nothing has been laid out as an opportunity to connect with someone. And humor is a great way of putting that out there. And no harm, no foul. You're not necessarily exposing yourself, but you're going to understand a lot by the dialogue and the reception and the information you get back from that interaction. So humor, totally. Sarcasm, yes, I've been known to be completely sarcastic in my home life, but that's because I are of the people that are part of my home life and the interactions that we all have together. We've established the baseline. So anyways, when you're having, you know, feeling like there's a hurdle on the whole, you know, networking and trying to figure out the whole dating scheme, there is no right or wrong answers, but I would argue that we can be pretty funny, and that is a very interesting way of, you know, checking to see the funniness, which relates a lot of times to potential intelligence of another individual. And you can move into a lot more subjects off of that humor interaction. So anyways, love to hear your comments. And as always, if you have a video request, please put it in the comment section. Thanks.